I have a bit of a pre-prepared speech, because if I didn't, I'd probably stand up here and talk to one of y'all asking your waitresses for tomatoes or something to throw at you. So I come before you today as the bearer of bad news. We're not quite, so the bad news is that Lady Liberty is dead. We're not quite sure what the cause of death was yet. Maybe she died of cancer acquired from one of the TSA's radiation strip search machines, or fell into a deep depression and committed suicide after being molested by one of them. Perhaps she was killed while trying to defend her home as a bunch of peace officers busted in her door to serve a no-knock warrant. It could have been that she refused to let the state steal from her under the guise of taxation, so the IRS seized all of her assets and put her in a jail cell where she hung herself with a bedsheet since she had nothing left to live for. She could have even died from malnourishment since she could not afford to buy food, thanks to the immoral inflationary monetary policies of the private Federal Reserve Bank. Maybe the Patriot Act was the justification for federal agents kidnapping her and holding her against her will never to be seen again, since her actions were the spitting image of things that terrorists might do. While we haven't determined the cause of death yet, we do know that she truly is dead. So many still wave their flags and sing their songs in celebration of the liberty and country that is no more, while I feel compelled to do nothing but hold a funeral and mourn the loss of liberty and all that many seem to think we still have. Our founders made great personal, physical, and financial sacrifices to give birth to Lady Liberty and to raise her into maturity in the face of oppression and tyranny, and we have forsaken her. Those men did not plead with some arrogant politician to give them liberty. They did not try to fix the oppressive system of government they were under. They were not halted by nationalist pride for Mother England and all of the great things she had done. They did not cower in fear over what their oppressors would do to them if they were not successful. No, they stood up and said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And they did not care what the cost was. They shrugged off the calm of despotism and embraced the tempestuous seas of liberty. They recognized that liberty does not grow in ground that's been salted by the tyranny that came before it. They knew that for liberty to grow, new ground must be broken. Old habits, old ways of thinking, and old allegiances must be cast aside to make room for only liberty to thrive. They knew that the collectivist mentality that fuels nationalist pride had to be removed from the soil, and the water of rugged individualism had to be used to feed the seed of liberty they had planted. So, will you allow her to be buried and their sacrifices and toiling to be in vain? Or will you rise up and pull her from her grave? Will you continue to beg and plead for arrogant politicians to bestow their blessings upon you? Or will you demand nothing less than liberty and show them what public shame and humiliation feels like if they try to stop you? Will you continue to accept the ruse of safety? Or will you recognize that once you look to the state to keep you safe, there will be no one to keep you safe from the state itself? Will you refuse to accept that people have more rights than you because they wear a state-issued costume? Or will you remember that God gave us all the same rights, and none any more than others? Will you recognize the importance of private property rights and refuse to let the state encroach on them? Will you refuse to be obedient to the state's immoral claims of authority as docile sheep are to the shearer? Will you stop accepting the death of liberty right before your very eyes? I hope so. Because I will, and I need all of you to join me in the fight. I will not stand quietly and calmly by as liberty's coffin is covered over with dirt and rocks. I will not let the hardship and strife of those that came before me be in vain. I will not accept anything less than absolute liberty. It's time to stand and fight no matter the cost. It's time to act like people who will not tolerate the death of liberty. The time for patience and civility is past. The time for outrage and tenacity is upon us. The time for rubbing the statists' noses and just how right Ron Paul really is now. Now, are you all with me? Yeah.